Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here, and nice to see everybody. It's great to see pictures like this. It shows the culture of the company, and it's something that everybody, when you have such great culture, it's so great to be involved, to be a part of that company. Okay, what I want to talk about, touch a little bit on a few things this morning is the BC economy, the Metro Vancouver real estate market, and government policies that have been brought forward. But there's a reason why we have on our automobiles, and it says beautiful British Columbia. There's so much to fall in love with, depending what you were into, hiking, skiing, all sorts of things. The Northern Lights, the Victoria Harbor, it is just beautiful, and it's easy to find how beautiful Vancouver is today, thanks to Google. But I look back at when my father immigrated to Canada many years ago. And why did he come to Canada? He came here to make sure that, for the reason for his children, for a safe place to raise his children, a great place for education, a place to invest, and a place to flourish. There's not much of a difference in today's immigrants. Today's immigrants look at all that, and some of the other things that they'll look at as well is they'll look to see what's going on with Brexit, Trump, China, and so on. And really, like I said, there's no difference for them. But I remember back in the 90s when I got into real estate. One of my first clients was a gentleman from Hong Kong, my very first deal. And we became very good friends. And he introduced me to his friends, and they bought, and so on. But one of the listings that I had was on Beach Avenue, right beside the Sylvia Hotel there. There's a tree on top of the building. And a wealthy Hong Kong gentleman came in, and I looked around, and he looked at that particular, I had it advertised as the most eloquent condo in Vancouver at the time. So he came, looked around, and he saw that there's only 8-foot ceilings. And he said, "Is this the best Vancouver has to offer?" I said, "Well, at the time it was." But thank God that today's buildings are first-class buildings designed by architects from all over the world. It was a pleasure dealing with them. And I hope they do come back into our market. It will certainly help our market today, to boost our market today. But there's so many people from all over the world that are looking to immigrate to Canada, to move here. We're the lucky ones. We're already here. But it's not just, like I said, the beauty of BC or anything like that. It's also that we have a very strong economy. And our provincial Canadian economy is very good. We had 400,000 newly created jobs, and out of those 400,000 jobs, 96,000 of them were created right here in BC. 25% almost of those jobs. So British Columbia's economy is very strong. The Royal Bank of Canada's economists has predicted here in 2019 would lead the country in capital investments, which expect to skyrocket over the previous period by a whopping 12.9%. We are thriving in BC. The market is very good. We have consumers that keep our economic growth stable and profitable. We're in a cycle of continuous growth and expansion. The point I'm trying to make is that BC is and will remain to be a global destination for investors, globally, locally, and national. The other interesting statistic is that a lot of Canadians want to retire here in British Columbia. 70% of Canadians over the age of 60 want to retire in BC. So when you want to talk about to your clients, this is some of the clients that you should be talking to are those baby boomers, because they are going to be making that shift. They're ready to, some are retiring already. So those are the conversations that you need to be having with those people. Are they planning of downsizing? They're planning of moving away from Vancouver? Where? And so on. So plan the things throughout with them. It's a huge migration to have that amount of people that come in from all over from other parts of Canada into BC. The other interesting statistic is this one here, that we still have 48,000 people that want to make Metro Vancouver their home. From those 48,000, we need, in 22 years, we need 500,000 homes, which represent about 22,000 homes every year. And that's a huge number. We're only building this year, and next year, we're only building 11,000. Government policies have come in, and they've slowed the market down a little bit. The developers have pulled back, and they're only building 11,000. So looking at that, because of the government policies again, I don't think some of those policies have really been thought out with a plan. So, and I'll go through it with you guys. But I like the stats. When I see stats that we have such high demand of 22,000 homes, and we're only building 11, there's no balance. So real estate is supply and demand. So for your clients now, you need to be able to educate them, find opportunities for them. There are opportunities out there. You just have to be able to look at them and find them. And we have, when we look at economists, and economists, there's an old saying that you put 10 economists in one room, they'll give you 11 different opinions. So some of them will give you that, yes, there's going to be an uptick on the market, other ones are going to be down. So nobody really knows. And being in the business for a long time, even now when you get in the business, you will be asked, what do you think the market's going to do? Is the market going to go up? Is the market going to go down? What's it going to, when should I buy? Should I sell? None of us have a crystal ball. But the only thing I can say is, I look back and when was the best time to be buying real estate? And the quote that I hear from everybody is 5 years ago. So you're buying today and you're thinking at least 5 years ahead. You're not buying real estate today and hope that it's going to go up tomorrow. It's actually on the very second slide, this one here. This is my most favorite quote. The most important word in the world of money is cash flow. The second most important word is leverage. The only word that's missing in this quote is real estate. Because there's nothing better to leverage than real estate. Nothing. So think of this whenever you're talking to your clients, that they're putting 20% down. And they're leveraging that to buy $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is, property. So that's a great leverage to be using. One of the economists that I like is Cameron Muir. I'm not sure if you guys know him. He's the economist from BCREA, and his outlook for 2019 is continuing strong performance in the economy, combined with favorable demographics, is expected to push home sales above the 10-year average in 2019. The stress test, coupled with provincial tax policies, will continue to affect the real estate market. Government policies are going to be throughout my speech, because it's something that I think that has slowed our market down quite a bit. I remember as a young man, a teenager, the Vancouver Whitecaps had won the North American Soccer Championship. And everybody was downtown. It was a really big thing. And the championship game was held here in Vancouver at the P&E grounds there. There was a field there. And it was televised nationally and through the United States. And of course the camera showed the mountains, they showed other pictures of Vancouver and that. And the announcer kept on calling Vancouver the village of Vancouver. But it was a village. Looking at it the way it is today, it was a village, but we've certainly come a long way with what's been built and so on. And the other thing, of course, in the last 10 years, we've had homes that have increased by 100% in the last 10 years. These increases kind of causes a little bit of a worry about how our younger generation can afford a home and how the most vulnerable amongst us can find a basic shelter. And when you see things like this, 10 nurses in BC Children's ER resign over an affordable housing, those are, yeah, we all like to see appreciation in housing, but if we can't have a sustainable economy where we have nurses, we have policemen, we have firemen that can live and grow in the city, then there's no balance. So then we have to think of that balance. And while as real estate industry, we welcome the government looking at the money laundering concerns and the increase in supply and affordability, the social rental housing and so on. It's the governments that have brought in the mortgage stress test, foreign buyer tax, speculation tax, increased property purchase, school tax, tax. And but really, when you think about this, how are taxes, when you buy something for $1 and you add another 60 cents for $1.60, let's say, how does that make it affordable? It does not make it affordable. If that's what the government's going to talk about, affordability, then why are we putting all these taxes through? So as realtors, we hear from clients who about these tax increases, and a lot of them are struggling. Some of them are retired already, so they're looking for ways of, do they want to move? I've had people where it sold their houses and they've moved out further out, Bike Rock and so on, and after 6 months they call me back, Michael, do you think you can move me back into my neighborhood again? They're older people, they're used to that community. So by doing this again, I think BC homeowners deserve a better rate than what's been offered in that. The government intends to drive home prices down with taxes. What's the target? Okay, we want to push the prices down so we can let nurses live here comfortably. So what's the target? A house today is 1.8. So, Mr. Government, what do you want to bring the price down to? What do you think is, have they modeled that? I think they've just thrown a bunch of policies in place and to please the public, but I'm not sure how much thought has gone into that. Yes, we understand that these taxes are to cool the market, but again, when you cool the market and you're still applying those same tax amounts, how low do you want it? Will those tax implications maybe turn our economy into a recession? So those are some of the concerns that I have. The City of Vancouver already has speculation tax and now empty home tax and speculation tax. Again, how does putting more tax on the consumer, the burden that it puts on them, how does it make it affordable for others? A recent study by C.B. Howe Institute, this one here, by zoning and building regulation, development charges and other limits on development are adding $644,000 to the cost of a single-family home. Again, affordability. If the government is going to make $644 from each house, how does it make it affordable for you to buy it? For you, for anyone? So they need to have a better. They need to find some solutions. And I think the solutions that need to be found is what I call the missing middle. Yes, we're building some high rises and that, but there's some other stuff that we can build within single-family homes, maybe some townhouses, and some fiveplexes. And if you can rent them, why can you not sell them? Even coach houses. why can you not sell that to somebody that likes that neighborhood? Like I said, that lady, maybe I couldn't buy her old house back, but hey, maybe I can put her into a coach house that she can live in the neighborhood. And so, just to provide more options for people. We need to be a lot more creative, that's for sure. So the governments need to look at densification, relaxing of the heights of the building and the approval part. This is the 5-plex in a single-family zoning area. Yes, you can have this one here as strata, you can have this one, why not? And so those are some of the things that will maybe ease the burden of the new buyers. There is no quick fix. It takes time to be able to plan that out. Otherwise, like at companies, New York, cities like New York, San Francisco, they would have already found the magic bullet. But again, our market is supply starved right now. There are opportunities, again, this is a word that you always need to be thinking about, the opportunities that are out there, and to be able to develop and find solutions for the affordability, for people that are struggling with affordability. But I think changes will come eventually. It's usually those changes come when elections come into effect. Then politicians move around in order to please the many. So let's say what happens with that, and the latest statistic that I've seen is, of course, last month we had a great month here in Vancouver and Toronto, where the sales jumped 24%, and this is the time to suggest to your buyers to take advantage of the pace of the market. And when I say the pace of the market, rather than that rush that we had before, where everybody was make an offer without even doing an inspection, full price offer, no subjects, no this, no that. This gives you a pace. You're doing your business. I tell my clients the first thing that you need to do is you need to go and meet with your financial advisor, your mortgage broker, figure out your financing, figure out your mortgages, and then look for a realtor to work with. Look for a realtor that is aligned with your thoughts, because there's nothing really worse than having a realtor say, oh, the market's going to go up, and then all of a sudden you have a mortgage broker that says, oh, the market's going to go down. You both lose. So interview some of the realtors that you want to work with. Have trust in them that they're going to be able to deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And they're aligned with your thoughts, and of course trust, integrity is some of the most important thing when you're dealing with a consumer. One area we need greater collaboration between local governments, real estate stakeholders to simplify and update the zoning, building bylaws, reducing processing times to find alternative ways of finding community amenities without continuing to burden the buyers of new homes. So we look at all the, again, back to that CD where the zoning and all that, this is what I mean by that. Continuing to put a burden, it's all the extra taxes, all the amenities that they add, that it does not help the consumer to find a house. One of the things that I want to talk about actually is the stress test. I have it here somewhere. It is a very unpopular decision. If all the realtors were to stand up and scream in front of the government, they wouldn't do a thing. It's the banks that need to scream. And the banks are currently investing in safe investments, but they're not making the money that it's usually the more challenging mortgages or financing. That's where they make their big money. And I think that we're going to see we're going to see the banks start to make a little bit more noise. Where are we? Okay, we talk next one. Okay, so again, is this time for you to suggest to your clients about to take advantage of the pace of the market? Next. Okay. I've been involved recently with industrial warehouse, looking at industrial warehouse market. A few years ago it was a neglected asset. Nobody really, if you weren't in the business, in the warehouse business, you really kind of left it, and the only thing that you thought about is residential, because that's what most people know about. But Metro Vancouver is the world's hottest industrial real estate market today. There's a quote actually that in Vancouver within a decade we could run out of land. So that's a great investment opportunity that I'm currently looking at and involved in right now. And so I look at why are we, the ongoing shift on the online shopping. There's big demand for the industrial real estate e-commerce companies. Amazon, Alibaba, Vancouver, in Vancouver, and Samsung and Apple are already coming. So those are some of the reasons why I think. Also, again, the consumers are demanding quick deliveries. And so they need to have their inventory close to town. And so the distribution centers are, I believe, Walmart is doing like a huge place out in Fraser Valley, 300,000 square feet, and they're looking to adjust their market to do something very similar to what Amazon is doing. So all sorts of companies are looking to do exactly this, to be able to deliver the consumer next day delivery. Developers are building on every vacant piece of land that they own, and it's still not enough. It's to the point where some of those players are looking to move on to other provinces in British Columbia. And that means that we may lose jobs because of that. And not only the construction job, but the actual jobs that would occupy that space. Overall, we have some challenges because of government policies. We hope that some of these policies will go away with elections coming up. Our economy is still strong, and great opportunities are out there. With your help, we can make this year and every year a successful one. And that's it. To wrap things up, I'd like to thank Fantasy Capital for giving me the opportunity to participate here with you today, and I look forward to meeting you guys for lunch. I have one other quote that I would like to use. If you want something you've never had, then you've got to do something you've never done. So step out of your comfort zone and do something that you didn't do before, because challenge yourself and you'll succeed.